This year's PHCC Connect show was in Birmingham, Alabama. What a great city to get to know a little bit better. Everyone we met was so polite. Now we understand what people mean by the words Southern hospitality. One thing remarkable about the Connect show is it hosts the PHCC's Plumbing and HVAC National Apprenticeship Competition. So there were lots of apprentices going to the show for the first time. The educational sessions were great too, and the evening events were maybe even better. I hope you were there too, but if you had to miss, maybe the next best thing would be to get to know my next guest. Danny, welcome to Behind the Windshield with Dennis the Apprentice at the PHCC Connect trade show.
Thanks for having me.
Danny, I'm super glad to have you here. We both met at our first Connect trade show.
Yep.
That was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. In North Carolina, that was a really cool one. I really liked the NASCAR Hall of Fame and all the stuff that we had going on that year. It was fun.
That was very cool. Why were you there? What prompted you to come to your first trade show?
So I went to the Texas State Convention. So we first started out with the North Texas PHCC and just doing stuff locally with where we were. And then I went to the Texas State Convention, and they told me about the national event that was coming up. And they told me to get in touch with them and go check it out. And so I decided that I was going to go out there. And we worked with the national convention. And we actually, I don't know if you remember that year, we did headshots for everybody. So
Yes.
If you were a contractor, you got a free headshot. If you came in, we had a full place set up to go ahead and get headshots, so that way everybody could update their LinkedIn profile or their pictures on their company website or Facebook or whatever they wanted a professional headshot for. We would give them a free professional headshot, and then we also made some videos of the entire event.
Right. I remember that. That was awesome. What I remember was it was my first time podcasting on my own, and that was scary. And then you were like, "What's going on?" You're my neighbor.
Yeah.
And so I told you, and said, I've done some of that. So you were my first guest that day.
Yep.
And then I started having all these guests, and my daughter was with me, and I'm like, where are all these people coming from? And your guy, Chitty, was sending people down, and it ended up being really successful.
Yeah,
and then I
Chidi
met
ended
Chitty.
up going around. Chidi's right over there. He ended up going around and just getting a bunch of people, and he's like, hey, if I can help him get people on his podcast, that's awesome. He's right next to us in the booth too, so
Right.
I get to talk to them even more.
Right, exactly. And
It's that abundance mindset.
oh, totally. And now Chitty's a good friend and done really well. And so you guys have gotten even more involved. You guys are doing great things with PHCC.
Yeah, so we're involved in our state, and then also I'm actually on the board for the North Texas chapter.
Okay.
And so doing that, I went to QSC this year. I saw you at the Spectrum event,
Yep.
AEC as well. And so just lean into PHCC because of what they do for the trades. I actually have a buddy who told me that when he moved to Texas from California, they weren't going to give him his master plumber license. And so he ended up fighting it for a while and trying to fight it. He said what ended up helping him get his master plumber license in Texas a lot faster than the 2 years they wanted him to wait was he went to PHCC, and they fought for him to be able to get his license because he had all the time already. He had done everything. He could pass the test. And so they fought and helped him get his license when at first they weren't going to even let him have his license. They told me I had to work for somebody else for 2 years. He's like, I'm already a trained master plumber. Why do I have to work for somebody else? So
Right.
it's just the things that they can do as far as the pull that they have and just the resources that are available through PHCC.
Right. And they're the only, for plumbing, they're the only organization that has political clout that can do those kind of things with the state and the city and the national stuff like that.
Yeah, I know in Texas, they actually have it set up now. So if you come to the Texas State Convention, you actually get your plumbing CE credits. Everything you need for the year. If you just come to the convention and you sit in and you get your thing signed off that you came to each one of the classes, in those 2 days that the convention is, you get all of your PE credits, or CE credits, not PE.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, the CE credits. So that way you don't even have to go do anything else throughout the year, and you get to come to a convention, have a great time with people, see vendors, and all the other fun things that come along with these conventions too.
What a fantastic idea. Mm-hmm. See, that's that networking thing that when you get out and visit with people, you get ideas. We should do that in our state.
Yeah. I mean, because it helps attendance.
Absolutely.
And then also on top of that, it helps them get what they need.
Yep.
And
It's kind of like giving your employees a reward, but then it also frees them up so they don't have to deal with it the rest of the year,
yep,
too.
they don't have
Yeah.
to go do some random other day. And a lot of times, those conventions are also at some fun place where they can bring their family to.
Yes.
And you get them to learn so much more about the business and how they can really help grow your business too by sitting in on those different things that are going on, all the different sessions that they have each day.
Right.
So,
Right. I hear so many contractors that are against trade shows, but trade shows are great because it's an incentive to get out of your box, get away, bring your family. It's usually at some cool place, and you can bring your family and have a little vacation, and it's a tax write-off. Like it just makes sense.
yeah.
But so many people are against it for some reason, and I was against it for so much of my contracting life. I thought I was too busy to.
Yeah, it's just you're too busy, but are you too busy to grow?
I know it's like
It's
it's backwards thinking.
it's like there's so many things that, and most people are like, oh, they just go. Well, if you don't take any of the information that you learn and you don't do anything with it, then yeah, you're just going to continue in that continuous loop. But if you actually take the information, implement it into your business, then it's going to help you to grow even more. And a lot of times it's you're too busy working in the business instead of working on the business. When you
Yes.
come to a trade show and you come listen to some of these speakers, they'll open up your mind on how you can work on your business so you're not in it so much.
Right. So Danny, do you have any best practices? Like, do you have any things that you've learned to do, like on the way to a trade show, or you're coming to this trade show? How do you get your mind right to take advantage of it?
So when it comes to going to trade shows and getting my mind right about how I'm going to take in the information, is letting myself know that, hey, I need to turn on to do not disturb on my phone, because otherwise that thing is the number one distraction device we have. It can take you off of so many different things that you could get done if you're not just intentional about turning it off and taking time to learn. And then setting goals on what you actually want to take away from the trade show. So if you're going in to learn about something specific, make a list. Look who the vendors are going to be that are going to be there. And then make a list of who you actually want to go visit with. And if you go with that mindset, and if you contact them before, you can actually set up a time with them prior to the show even happening, so that way you have a specific time, you get to meet them there, you get to talk about it, and maybe you see them speak about it as well. So you can look at that prior, because they always have the list, and then you can come up with, hey, here's what I want to learn out of this trade show, and so that way you have actionable steps.
Awesome. And then how about when you leave? What do you do when you leave?
Make sure that you set aside time as well, so that way you can go through your notes.
Yeah.
Because I've went to so many different conferences, and if I don't specifically set aside time to look back through my notes, then I'm never going to, those are just now buried away somewhere else with everything else. Just like we're saying, you're not taking advantage of it. You have to set aside time to debrief everything that you learned. And then what are these steps? And then set up meetings with your team as well. Like I'll come back from somewhere and it's like, hey, here's something new that I learned and I want to go disseminate it to my team. Well, I need to have a time set up where I can actually meet with them and go through, here's what I learned. And then afterwards, if you do more research on it after you learned about it, you can actually have an entire go-to-market strategy set up for whatever it is that you want to implement. And so when you do that, it's going to be way more impactful than just going to trade show after trade show and not getting anything out of it. And that's where I see most people that don't get something out of it, is because they're not actually going into it with goals and then afterwards taking that and making sure that they're putting into action.
Awesome. Love it. I couldn't say it better. I remember like 20 years ago going to it wasn't quite a trade show. It was more like a network. It was Nexstar or something. There was a lot of contractors there. And then this one group of contractors, this one company, they all had the same shirt on. I saw them huddled up in the corner after the thing was over. And I discovered later what they were doing. That was their rule. After the show, they huddled up and they all argued about what was most important. I mean, everybody's got different ideas, but you got to figure out what is the most important. And they would come up with a strategy to implement it before they left the conference. And then they would make use of it. So it's not just getting away and looking around and partying and drinking. I guess some people can do that, but most of us that are progressive and making things happen make it productive by doing that.
Like one of my friends who's a Green Beret told me that they would have what they call a post-action meeting. And it would be when they would go out on a mission. After the mission, they would all meet back. What went well, what didn't go well, and what can we do better next time?
Yep.
And they would go through and have a list of the post action, and that's, I think, very important even for coming to trade shows. It's like, if you set that up and you have a post action meeting of here's what we learned, here's what was important, here's how we're going to implement it, here's the owners for it next, here's the owners for it, and here's how we're going to move forward.
Right. Awesome. So you're here. Why are you here? What's your company do?
So I'm with Local Media House, or LMH Agency. We're a digital marketing and advertising agency that's specific to plumbing, HVAC, electrical. We also work with roofers and landscapers, but that's all that we work with. So we do websites, SEO, PPC, LSAs. We're a Yelp Premier Partner, and we're actually up right now for Yelp Partner of the Year. So
Really?
So we might be becoming Yelp Partner of the Year. And then we also just won another award last week, so I just got to order them for Best Advertising Agency in Addison, where we're located.
Awesome.
And we also run another award for Design Rush, if you've ever seen that online. It's like for website designs. We just won for the best roofing website design. So what we do is we help contractors to get more leads and also become more efficient. Like today, I was here because I'm speaking about how to use ChatGPT and AI tools for your business. And a lot of that comes down to efficiency. How can you be more efficient in your business? All the way down to helping your CSRs, whoever answers your Google Business Profile reviews. If they're answering those and they're taking time every day, I can automate that entire system. So that way, ChatGPT automatically writes back to your customers. So if it's a 4 or 5-star review, it's like, it's already written. It says the person's name. It says who the technician was, what they did, and it writes it all back for them, so that way you don't have to touch it at all. And if it's a 3, 2, or 1-star review, we have it set up so it automatically will email you. And when it emails you, it'll say, hey, here's what OpenAI came up with for you that you could respond to it. So you can copy and paste that if you want to, or you can handle this however you wanted, but we wanted to let you know that you did receive a 3, 2, or 1-star review, and we recommend handling this quickly.
You're doing that through ChatGPT?
Yeah, so we do it. Google Business Profile goes into, we take from there Zapier, then we have it filter. From there, we have ChatGPT write the prompt, and then we send it back to Google Business Profile or through Gmail. It'll email it back to you.
Danny, how do you figure all that out?
Just by looking at the different tools.
Oh my goodness.
And learning from other people. I watch a lot of different stuff about what's going on and how you can use AI, because it's moving really fast in our industry as well.
Yep.
We use AI when it comes to SEO. We use AI in our ads. I even use it to write emails. I wrote my entire speech that I did through ChatGPT too.
Yeah.
I took it, here's what I want to say, here's what it is, and then it wrote it out and just makes it sound better.
Yeah.
So there's so many different tools that you can use like that, like Zero, doing ride-alongs, so virtual ride-alongs when it comes to managing a team. Imagine this. So when you're running your company, if you were able to go along and do ride-alongs with every single one of your reps on every single call, every single week, how much better would they have got?
Oh, I would go on 2 or 3 ride-alongs on one day, and I would have enough information for meetings for 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Of stuff that went right or went wrong or went sideways or...
Now, if you can take it and you can see that their speaker share is 75%, and the best closer is their speaker share is around 60%.
What speaker share means?
So speaker share is how much did they talk versus how much does the customer talk. So
aren't we supposed to talk the whole time?
That's what you would think. But it's a lot better actually when your speaker share is less and the customer is talking more. So you could do that as well as you can see, are they selling the home warranty program? Are they asking for a Google Business Profile review? Because if they're not asking for reviews, that's a missed opportunity every single time. And those are big when it comes to your marketing, because those play into your LSAs. They also play into your profile and where you rank on the map pack. And so those are some of the biggest key factors that Google's looking at, because they want to see that customers are interacting with you and then responding to those reviews like I was just talking about. It's also very important because Google wants to see that you're interacting with your customers as well.
Wow. So you had a breakout on that, and then you just did another talk on that kind of thing, which I missed both of those because I was here. But
well, you have to see it next time. Come to North Carolina. I'm going to be doing it at the PHCC North Carolina event coming up.
Awesome. So yeah, that's what's happening at the trade shows. It's not just a trade show, but you're learning how to run your business better. Mm-hmm. And things are moving so fast that every trade show, there's something new. Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that is happening in the industry, even with tools that are coming out. Like Wet Show. I saw you at Wet Show as well. there's so many cool new tools that are coming out that are changing so fast. And then I don't know if you saw like Hilti came out with the new exoskeleton. Did you see
Yes,
that?
I've
So
seen
it
that.
can like help you lift anything, no matter how big it is. There's like so many different things that are coming out that make it so that life is easier on you.
That's going to actually help us lift a water heater without needing help.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It makes you super powered.
That's like Iron Man in real life.
Yeah.
If you want to be an Iron Man, you got to be get into plumbing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. What else is new what else is new on the horizon? This OpenAI is incredible.
Mm-hmm. So as far as new things on the horizon, really just AI is going to continue to speed things up. Another thing that I was talking about today was AI CSRs. So being able to have overflow. So if you have overflow of calls coming in, it's never late to work. It doesn't miss a phone call.
Yes.
You can have an AI CSR who's answering the phone calls, booking them directly, and they're answering questions for people, as well as an AI chatbot on your website. And they're getting better and better. I don't know if you remember, like when AI chatbots first came out, it was still very frustrating.
Yeah.
Now they're having full-on conversations with you.
Right.
So it's very interesting.
That's amazing. Very good. Well, what's your best client? What's a good client for you?
We work with plumbing companies who are doing at least 2 million or more in revenue, and are looking to really grow. That's what we're really focused on, is working with people who are wanting to grow and are willing to do what it takes to grow. Not just in the spending the money, but also fixing internal issues. Because what you find a lot of times, you start to flood somebody with leads, is that there's a lot of internal things that they also need to do, and you'll see close rates. And it's like, all right, are you working on closing these? Because with our revenue, so we have a revenue analytics dashboard that allows us to see from the phone call all the way through to when it closes, and it shows estimates open and everything. So I can track every single dollar all the way through. And so I know how much it costs you to get an actual paying customer. Not just how much did a lead cost you, how much does it cost to get an actual paying customer? And so as we can get those numbers to come down based on, hey, right here we have a closing issue because you have more estimates open than you do closed sales. And little things like that. Hey, there's an issue with this based on these numbers, because we have so much data with the company that we work with that helps out with that dashboard. With so many companies across the United States, it's like we can really identify where are the issues at, what's happening, or we haven't seen any leads come in from our chatbot. Well, how many people have actually came in? All right, well, what's happening with those leads? So we can really see what are your best sources too.
That's super important. I remember sometimes I get all of a sudden at 2:00 in the afternoon, all the texts would be showing back up at the shop. This happened like every once in a while. And they'd be complaining that there's no calls. And so I'd go into Kimberly and say, hey, what's going on? There's no calls. So she looks at the data and she's like, well, we had more calls than we've had all week. Your guys just didn't sell anything today. Like no one closed anything. Like you can't fix a closing rate.
Yeah, I can't do that on my side. I can't fix your closing rate.
Yeah, and so it's not. You do need the phone ringing, but then you also have to have a professional closing rate.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, if no one sells anything, then you'll go through.
Well, not just that, you can even back it up one more. All right, maybe they didn't go out on all the jobs. How did the CSR do it? Booking.
100%.
How was your booking rate? Because you go from your booking rate, and then once you get out there, that's when you can find out. So what we do also is we have a team that listens to every single phone call that comes in for all of our customers. And then is it quotable? Is it not quotable? Because if it's a quotable job, then it means it's a good lead.
Right.
We don't count jobs that aren't quotable. We don't count your current customers that are calling in as a lead. That goes under not quotable, because we're not giving you a quotable lead. Right. And so it's like, well, the phone calls that we're getting are only this much quotable. It's like, I went through this actually 2 days ago with a customer, and I was like, yeah, here's all the not quotables, and here's the reason why. He's like, oh, you guys don't count current customers as quotable leads? No, that's not a lead that we brought you. It's somebody that you already have as a customer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that makes me feel even better about the quotable calls that are coming in, because what you're saying is they're only ones that you are bringing us as new customers that are quotable.
Right.
I was like, exactly. And so we try and have about 60% is what our quotable lead rate is, because the rest of them are going to be either you'll get spam, you get people looking for jobs, you'll get people that are or current customers,
right?
Or if they're outside of the service area, or it's a job that you don't do.
Right.
Those are the main issues of why we don't have a quotable lead that's coming in.
Awesome. All right, you're doing well with Yelp.
Yep.
So many contractors struggle with Yelp. Any hints on how to do better with Yelp?
So here's the way to get more reviews on Yelp. You don't ask for people to leave your reviews. Because when they leave reviews, everybody's like, why are all my reviews hidden? What you do is ask them to check in. So on the Yelp app, there's a place that they can go into and they can check in at your location. And then ask them to check in. And then when Google prompts you to leave a review, if you would leave when Yelp prompts you to leave a review, then please leave a review.
After you've checked in.
After you checked in, and Yelp will prompt them to leave a review. The reason that you do that is now you've already checked in at the business, so Google knows that Yelp knows that you're a real customer because you checked in there. And then you can leave a review because Yelp's prompting you to leave a review, so they know it's coming from Yelp and not from you soliciting them. Because it is illegal to solicit reviews on Yelp's platform.
Okay, so how do you get a customer to check in on Yelp?
So on their app.
Yeah.
When they go on their app, there's a little place on there that they can check in. On their profile, you go to the profile, and then from there they check in. And then in a day or two, Yelp will prompt them to leave a review.
Okay. So maybe you could say, we got your call from Yelp. You must be a fan of Yelp. Would you mind checking in with our company? It helps us out.
Yep.
Something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Just
and then
like
a couple days later, Yelp's going to ask them for a review, not you.
Yeah, and then Yelp might ask you for a review in a few days. If that does happen, if you could just leave us some feedback, that would be awesome. You're not allowed to say reviews on Yelp.
Feedback.
It's feedback.
Danny, that's gold.
So that's how you get it.
So many people struggle. Mm-hmm. I struggled for years with Yelp, and I never figured it out really. So.
Yeah, we have people that are spending $20,000+ a month, but they're also making $150,000+ on Yelp.
Wow, awesome!
And so you can dominate that space. And Yelp actually has a lawsuit out right now against Google for monopoly type practices, where they're pushing Yelp down on the search engine and not making a fair playing field. So that's something else to totally get into is about that whole lawsuit. But Yelp is also quietly, since 2020, became huge when it comes to contractors.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a ton of leads that come through there, but it's also different depending on your location. Some locations don't do as well as others, and so we test them out. And it's like, we'll start with a small budget. If we get good traction, then we'll ramp it up. But there's some areas where Yelp just doesn't do good either.
Interesting. Well, how do people get a hold of you?
So you can get a hold of me at lmh.agency. That's our entire website, lmh.agency. Or you can go email me, danny@lmh.agency. Or my direct dial phone number is 214-303-9885.
Awesome, Danny. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for dropping some serious gold.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Definitely. Thanks, Dennis.
Awesome. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and you are inspired to go to a show near you, or even put next year's PHCC Connect show on your calendar. It will be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, October 27 through 30, 2025. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date with trade show guests and all things apprenticeship and blue collar.